already, and I am a multi-genre author. And on today's vlog, I wanted to do a little reel on what I have been buying in March. So I have bought all of these lovely books, and I'm going to talk you through them. So this is my physical TBR that I have been buying, my little book haul. So we'll start with the ones that I have read, which is The Mum Group, which is by Jennifer Jones. And this was a fantastic story. It's almost a thriller, but it's not a thriller. It's more a suspense. And it's about a woman who's in her late 40s, and she finds herself divorced, and her children have grown up and have all gone away. So she joins via Facebook something called the Mums Group. And then some of the mums don't take to the character, our main character, very well. And they almost shun her. And so our main character, whose name is Erica, she takes matters into her own hands, and she does certain things that will disrupt the other mums' lives. So this is a fantastic book. If you haven't seen this book, or it's on your TBR, then it really is a must. I gave this 5-star rating over on Goodreads, so do pop along over there onto Goodreads and have a little look at it, and check it out, because it's definitely worth the read. And I think that's the only book that the author has put out so far. So she's not a new author, but I haven't seen any other books by her. But for sure, when they do come out, I will be definitely buying them, because the writing style was fantastic. It was a really good pace. It wasn't fast and it wasn't slow, but there was something happening pretty much from the start. And it's almost like a journal of this woman, Erica's life. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It's quite a quick read. The style of writing is brilliant, so you can read it in one sitting. I read it over 2 evenings and thoroughly enjoyed it. So the second book is Verity, which is Colleen Hoover. So most of you out there are familiar with Colleen Hoover and have probably read her books. This one is very different to the other Colleen Hoover books that I have read. And I absolutely love this book. And the plot is brilliant. So it's about a woman who is an author, and she gets selected by the husband of another world-famous best-selling author to finish off writing her manuscript. So basically, she's been asked to do some ghostwriting. And she goes to reside at the home of the man and the author. And the author has had an accident, hence the reason she can't finish her own manuscript. So our main character goes in to finish this story, and a set of sinister events happens, and she comes across a manuscript that's tucked away in the author's drawer, and she starts to read it because she feels compelled to read it to get inside the author's head so she can recreate or finish the book that the author has started. And in the manuscript, it tells the story of how she's fallen pregnant. The main author has fallen pregnant, and becomes the mother of twins, and how she doesn't want the twins. And then there's even a scene of how she has drowned one of her twins. And it's really gripping. I mean, it's really fast paced as well. And the ghost writer and the husband of the author actually start to have feelings for one another and start to fall in love. And the ghostwriter then keeps seeing the author, who is supposed to be disabled and motionless in a bed. So it's got this real sinister vibe going through it. Now, I do know a lot of people didn't like Verity. I, on the other hand, I loved it, and I gave it 5 stars. And what I loved the most about it was the plot. You know, what was going on in Colleen Hoover's mind when she actually wrote this book is really quite amazing. So it's a story within a story, because there's this, the main story is going on, and then we have got this subplot with the manuscript that the other author has written. But the best thing about this book was the ending. Now, a lot of people like their endings to be all neatly packaged and tied up at the end with no loose threads. I love that this hasn't got a tie-up on the end, and that there is a loose thread. And it left me wondering, wow, is this what really happened? Because I don't want to give you any spoilers on this video, so I'm not going to actually tell you what's happened. But what I liked is that there wasn't a happy ever after, not necessarily, not in the way that we come to know through true romance books. And there is this thread at the end, whether you aren't actually sure if the real author is telling the truth or not, or if the manuscript that she wrote with all these dark, sinister thoughts and happenings was the truth. Or is she glossing over that by this letter that is found by the ghostwriter? So if you haven't read Verity, I would give it a go. I know there's a lot of negativity about some of Colleen Hoover's books, but for me, out of the Colleen Hoover books that I have read, this was by far the best one. So, and I'm quite a big fan of Colin Hoover as well, so I would say I'm a little bit biased, but do check it out for yourself. This book I haven't read. It's called The House Sitter, and it says that it's across Europe, a young woman with no name and no fixed appearance hops from empty villa to vacated apartment to dormant summer house under the guise of a house sitter. Her agenda: steal from the rich and kill anyone who gets in her way. So that already sounds fantastic. And it's probably going to be a 2-sitting book. It's not too thick for me. But I love a thriller. My favourite genre is thriller. And I'm really looking forward to reading this. So this is probably going to be on my April TBR because I've got all my books tied up for March for the rest of the month reading. Now, these physical books are not an exhaustive list of the books that I have selected for purchase in March, because I have been on my Kindle and I've now got 106 books downloaded on my Kindle ready for reading. So I bought this book because I just love this. I loved the cover. It's not, a way out there cover. It's not a particularly intricate cover, but there's just something about this cover that I loved, and it is called The Widow's Secret, and it's by Theo Baxter. And again, this is a thriller, and like I've just said, I absolutely love thriller books, so I'm particularly looking forward to reading this, and this is going to be on the end of my March TBR. And it says, married couple Leona and Wade Woodrow are celebrating their anniversary with a hike on the Appalachian Trail when Wade slips and falls off a cliff. A search party turns up his bloodied clothing, but not his body. An inheritance and a huge payout from a life insurance policy do little to ease Leona's grief. Adding to her stress is Wade's brother, Wayne, who makes it clear he suspects Leona is somehow responsible for Wade's death. So there's a lot more blurb on the back of this book. But I've never read anything by Theo Baxter before, so he's totally new to me and I hadn't even heard of him before. So I'm really looking forward to this because this sounds like it's going to be another sinister suspense thriller. And I'm going to read this one at the end of March, and then I'll be posting out a review. So any of the books that you are seeing on this haul that I'm showing and sharing with you today, I do full reviews for these, and they'll get posted out on Amazon and Goodreads. And you'll see them on any of my post outs from Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So you can just click at the top of my channel. And if I've already forgotten to ask, please don't forget to subscribe and like at the end of this reel. And if you don't mind, pressing on the button and subscribing to my channel would be wonderful. Now, this book, The Love Hypothesis, it's all over BookTok, it's all over Instagram, Bookstagram. And I thought, you know what, it's got such great reviews. And it's a romance, love story, contemporary romance. And I also love that genre. Not as much as I like suspense thrillers or crime thrillers. But nonetheless, I really love a nice kind of cosy, romantic, contemporary romance book. And I have read so many things about this. And I thought, you know what, sod it, let's buy it and let's have a read of it. And yes, I'm looking forward to seeing what all the hype is about this book. But I think it will be brilliant because everybody says it is. And Ali Hazelwood is new to me as an author as well, but I'm absolutely positive that by the end of this book, I will probably be buying and devouring lots more of her books because it's got everything wonderful being said about it. It's when a fake relationship between scientists meets the irresistible force of attraction, it throws one woman's carefully calculated theories on love into chaos. I mean, if that isn't a good start of a synopsis for an ultra-romantic comedy, then what is? Fantastic. Can't wait to read this one. That's probably going to be read in April. And then, actually, this was the first book I bought in March, my first physical book that I bought in March, and Things We Hide from the Light, which is by Lucy Score. Now, I'm quite new to Lucy Score. I only started reading her books about 8 weeks ago, which I know is awful because she's such a huge name. And again, her books all get absolutely amazing, fantastic reviews. So I read the first book of these books. I read Things We Never Get Over. And oh my God, I just absolutely loved it. To me, it's a bittersweet love story, and it had my heart all over the place. It was just such a roller coaster that when I was halfway through the book, I saw that this book was coming out, and I thought, I've got to get it. So I pre-ordered it, and I was just ecstatic when it arrived in the post at the beginning of March. And once I've got through some of the books that I'm reading on my Kindle to complete my March TBR, I'm going to be reading this book. In fact, I might move it up because I have had so many wonderful things about this, and I am just so excited to be reading a little bit more about the characters that I've left off from things that we never get over. So it says Police Chief Nash Morgan is known for two things: being a good guy and the way his uniform accentuates his rear end. I mean, that's already great, isn't it? But 2 bullets put a dent in his southern charm, and now he's facing a criminal still on the loose and a town full of citizens that consider the law more of a guideline. The last thing he needs is the leggy smart-mouthed Lena Solovita moving in next door, making him feel things he doesn't have the energy to feel. So I think this is going to be a fantastic book. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit heart-wrenching and a bit of roller coaster like the other books that I've read. I used to score, but fantastic reviews for this already, and everybody is really loving it. And the ARC readers, I've read all their reviews as well, and it's she's just really, I've come to love this score. I've got about 4 or 5 other books of hers downloaded on my Kindle, which I just know I'm not going to be able to help myself, and I will be rushing out to buy all of the books physical because, I mean, it's a beautiful cover as well, isn't it? Who doesn't love a beautiful cover? And if I hadn't read the first book, I probably would have bought this one because I just absolutely love the way that it looks. The aesthetics of it are so pleasing. So all these books will be read by the end of March and April, middle of April, and I will be doing book reviews on them and posting them out on Goodreads. So you can find me on Goodreads at Kerry Kennedy Author. There is an underscore in there between the Kennedy and the author. If you haven't already, please hit down below on the subscribe button and help support me on my YouTube channel because I'm looking to grow my audience. And I will post out another vlog shortly for next week. Have a fantastic day, and thanks again for joining me today. I really appreciate your time.